rebuilding confidence, and harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zimet.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Beverly Zimet Show, where being the best you has just gotten easier. My guest today is Miss Queen G, calling in from Texas. Welcome, Miss Queen G.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored and humbled to be a special guest on your podcast.
Well, it's not actually a podcast. It's a show. This is a show.
Okay, let me get that right on your show. I know how important specifics are.
It's kind of interesting, because you have blogs, and then you have videos, and then you have shows, and then you have podcasts. So it's like, what's the difference between all of them? What is the difference, right? And, sometimes I get confused myself. And I think a lot of it just has to do with the name. Before video, you had your podcast or you had your blogs. And podcast was basically just your audio. Now some have audio and visual, right? And a blog was pretty much just writing it all down. You had to read it. But now they also have video and audio. So, I guess it's just personal preference, and I like to call it the show.
That's it. That's what it is.
Well, too, and I understand that you're working with social media. So that's a broad word, social media, right? And it's gone. That's your expertise. Why don't you tell our audience all about social media, where it started, how it got to where it's going, and why it is so important for your business in today's world.
Media. Okay. So I've been in the game of media for over 20 years, right?
Okay.
So I've seen quite a evolution, if you know what I mean. I've seen an evolution of it, which is interesting.
Right.
I was in it before internet radio.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I was in it before all of that. So back in the day, 20-some years ago, we actually literally had to go out to events. We had to shake hands. We had to network. We had to do it the long way. Right?
The long way. I've never heard it referenced that way before. The long way.
We had to do it the long way around, which wasn't so bad. It worked for that time.
Sure.
It worked for that day and time. It was nothing wrong with going out there, networking and being around others and building those actual bonds and relationships. I think that was very effective. But what has happened over the several years is that people are trying to find more effective, more efficient, and quicker ways to get your point across.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
And those are 3 key points. Can you name those 3 points again? Because they're really key.
Efficient, effective, and what else did I say? I said 2 or 3. I don't remember what the last one was. But they're basically trying to find a faster way to get things out there without all of the, having to take step by step by step by step by step.
Well, and it's also looking for a broader audience, right? There's only so many people that you can see on a daily basis, and then you keep seeing the same faces, whatever. And I mean, God, I lived in Las Vegas for a long time, and you want to talk about the networking convention capital of the world. Oh my gosh, It was 24/7. Didn't matter. 24/7, you could be at a networking, you could be at a convention of some sort, and it got to be so inundated that when you went to an event, because there was so many of them available, that they weren't as successful because people didn't show up at them because there was too many to go to, and you can only get to so many, so they kind of stuck close to home, so to speak. And you'd see the same vendors all the time. The rooms would be empty. It really got to be too much, just way too
redundant, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was crazy. It was crazy. You know,
I actually just moved from Vegas in November, so I know exactly what you're saying. But I think the key to that, you can have 1,000 conferences, you can have 1,000,000 podcasts, you can
right?
have this or that. But the most important is to what they call brand yourself, to
Okay,
make you stand out, to be unique, to be something interesting that people uh, want, make them want to tune in to you, basically.
that's kind of like
And
why I named my show, right?
right, right, exactly. And you have to be specific. Like when you told me it's a show versus a podcast, you have to be specific in
Right.
your social media outlets. So we were talking about the evolution of social media and how it has changed completely. About 15 years ago or so, they had just now begun to introduce internet radio and started putting that in place where it would be a digital upload, download, or whatever, versus having to actually go into the studio itself
Right.
and do a radio show. Now they begin to branch out where you could pretty much set up your own system at home or whatever base and go live straight from where you are.
Right.
So that's what began to change in radio even. That I know I grew up in LA in the entertainment business. They had a couple of main stations like 102.3 FM. That was more of a R&B, laid back type of station. All the R&B artists like Stevie Wonder. I think Stevie Wonder was part owner of it. And then they had the hip hop station. So it was even like identified with one or two outlets. Now, because they have so many live internet radio stations,
Right.
this, that, like it has grown in leaps and bounds since I've seen it, come in about
Right.
15 years ago.
Right.
Internet radio just got introduced about 15 years ago. Can you imagine that?
Oh,
Like
I
it
know.
wasn't
I
around
know.
before
It's
that.
crazy. I think I was like 7 when I was first introduced to TV, where I was actually on TV, right?
Right.
And performing and everything. So it was like, wow. Back then, and I'm telling you, that was a long time ago, honey. That was like 63 years ago. Okay.
Oh yeah, you've
So,
really seen it change.
oh
You've
my gosh,
really seen
the
it
things
change.
that happened so fast, and then in the mid 70s, I had my own radio station, right? And again, you had to drive into the station, you
Right.
got your little
See?
cubicle, you got this little thing hanging down, and you're talking. So, it's so different, so different.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah, definitely.
I actually, when I got out of college, right, I was in computers, and that back then, in in '69, let me tell you, what was going on then was key punch. I was a key puncher, and
Right. So you learn how to type. You have to take a typing class,
well, no,
right?
I did that in high school. No,
I'm saying, yeah,
yeah,
back
key
then.
punching was like it was pretty much all numbers and stuff, and it had made those little holes in the cards and stuff that you used to get your bills on, and it's crazy. But that was really the first introduction to the computer world, right? And this machine would take up like this huge
Right.
area. You had
Right.
a program, your little round disc that was, is about a little spindle about yay long, about this big around, and you had to wrap the card, you had to key it in. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. And then I think the next time I really got exposed to computers per se was towards the end of the 80s, probably 88, 89, and then I think I actually bought my first computer in 92 or 3, right? And it was, oh my gosh, with the
Wow.
dial up and everything, I think it was,
Right, archaic type of device. Like
oh, it
if you
was,
if you think now, listen to what you're saying, right? When
oh
the
my gosh.
came in, now our cell phone is like a computer.
I know, and everything has gotten so compacted. The speed has gotten so fast. The storage, I mean, just the clarity, and look at us right now, right? Here we are, right? You're in Texas.
You know.
I'm currently one day left in New Mexico. I leave for Denver tomorrow, right? And we're having this show. and it's being
Right.
broadcast all over the place, right? It's like
Right.
the technology is just amazing. And
It has truly, truly,
oh,
truly evolved. Let me tell you. And I let me tell you this. What's interesting about social media, even, okay, we had social media before the pandemic, and
right?
now we got the after pandemic.
Oh my
And
gosh.
two, because what has happened is that everybody, even normal people that say perhaps have their own businesses or whatever, have gravitated toward using this platform. And it's due to the fact that, we have to social distance, we have to do these
Right.
different things. So even you could take a small business. I've been seeing them go live on Zoom and do these different type of, scenarios, do meetings online. And it has, I'm talking before the pandemic and after it has evolved, if you
Oh,
think about
it just in the last 2 months, it has just gone so crazy. I have seen so what they're calling virtual, right? So many virtual events. I've
it.
been
Right,
invited to speak on a bunch of them stuff too. It's like, oh my gosh, and I'm really glad that I have my show designed the way it is because
right,
people who've never got on Facebook before or different social medias and have done any kind of videos, all of a sudden the whole place was totally inundated, and you get lost. And you're talking about branding, right? So now it's even more relevant to have your brand and set yourself apart from. So I actually started, you talk about what, creating in this pandemic, situation, but creating a class where I can teach people how to start their own show, how to set themselves apart from, how to be different so that you can show up in all this clutter and the static of everybody being on there just because they just want to reach out, they want to socialize, they want to be in the face of, and
right.
you
I
know,
started my I would call it Facebook Live podcast. I started that about, I would say, 4 or 5 years ago. It's called the Queen G Live Experience.
so how did you get the
And
name Queen G anyways? What was that?
oh,
Queen
yeah, 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 I
G.
gotta tell you that.
Yeah.
Back when radio was evolving, I was saying about 15 years ago, when digital radio came in and they started doing the internet radio. I have a friend of mine named Carla Simpson, and she had a platform called EOTM, which means Entrepreneurs on the Move. I
Oh,
love it still.
nice.
I still
Yeah.
loving it, right? So EOTM was a social media platform, which meant she did red carpet hosting under that
Okay.
medium. She did podcasts, radio shows. She had several radio personalities that were under her network. It was basically a network of all of those live type of moments. And I was a casting director at the time in LA, casting
Okay.
director, right?
Yeah.
So we ended up meeting, networking. I ended up placing some of my clients on her platform, the EOTM platform. And one day she had me on as a special guest. And she was like, "Girl, you did that. You have such a great personality." She was like, "I could definitely see you with your own radio show." I was like, "Me?" You know what I mean? I was shocked because I was so used to being behind the scenes in the entertainment business
Right.
that I never saw myself like out there in the forefront in front of the camera or anybody's. So she was the one that kind of put the bug in my spirit, if you know what I mean.
I
And
do.
she definitely gave me opportunity. Once I was booked on her show, she kept pressing the issue about me starting my own radio show. So she basically gave me a slot under her network to begin a radio show. And at the time, I was Shonta Gibson. That is my government name. That is my name. That
Your
Mama,
your
birth
birth
me
name,
right,
right?
exactly. But when we were, some of her radio personalities had unique names, and she was like, "Girl, you got to get a name. You got to get a name that matches your personality and this and that. You seem like the type that would be a Queen G." I was like, "Queen G? G for what?" And she's like, "G for Gibson, of course. It's still your last name, but you're such a queen. You're so elegant, this and that. I was like, I like that. You know what I'm saying? I really,
Well,
really
there
like it.
you go.
So there it is. That
The,
is how I got my name. You know?
oh, that's a beautiful story. I got chills all over that. That's really a beautiful story because, Queen says a lot of different things, right? And it does. It gives that elegant, it gives that feel of confidence, and you have that. You have that show personality, right? You're not afraid to
Right.
express yourself and open up. And, I have a lot of guests that have come on the show and it's been their first time out, and they're a little nervous, but at the same time, they move right through it. And once the show is over, they remark how comfortable that they felt being on the show because everything that I do is organic, right? I don't have a planned show, but sometimes I'll throw a question out there to really catch to make you like, I got to think about that,
Right.
But again, it's part of that showing the real you, and the whole idea of this show, being that best you that you can be, is all about allowing yourself to just be that expression, not something that has been formed, something that's going to be memorized, comment back, it's
Right.
just going to
Right.
be
Right.
totally organic. And that gives the people an opportunity, or the audience an opportunity, to just really see who this person is, right? And give yourself the opportunity to just be an expression of who you are. And that's what's really cool about radio and video and TV and all the stuff that's going on. And I mean, it's really exciting times that we live in, interesting times. And some businesses are going to really flourish, others are going to just kind of make it by,
Right.
and others are going to just have their final finale, right? And that's progress.
I'm just simply happy that all of this I was able to get a jump start on.
Yeah, yeah.
Before this time, because now people are tuning in more. Some that may have worked a job every day or been,
Right.
out and about. They were not the audience that was tuning in, and they would catch me later. But now they're more in tune.
Right.
This pandemic has kind of turned the eyes off of certain ones and put the eyes on certain people. If you know what I
Right.
mean.
Yeah, I do. I know exactly what you mean.
Now people are going back. I'm noticing an increase in numbers. I don't know if you noticed that, but people
Yeah.
are going back and watching old shows, and now I have more of an audience sharing my posts, all of that kind of stuff, and they're tuning into every word. They're watching my dental work. You know what I mean? I did that for a reason, because people are like, it's your smile, is this, is that, it radiates across the screen. People are watching all of those details.
Right.
Now, let me talk about the aspect of the responsibility that we have as hosts, as showrunners, podcasts, and stuff like that. You also have to be careful about how you represent when you go live on social media, and
Right.
you're held responsible for directing that audience in a certain way, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
I've seen people go live, and I've seen them do drugs while live.
Oh,
I've seen
no,
them-
really?
Oh yeah,
Oh, my
oh yeah,
goodness.
they'll blaze up right there. You know what I'm saying? I've seen people just in an element that does not show them in the best light. So
Right.
you just have to be careful about stuff like that. The way you represent yourself is very, very key to the respect level that you receive
Right.
from social media. Because the thing is that people are on the retrieving end of it. And when I started thinking about the responsibility I have as a showrunner and stuff like that, I was like, wow, you know what? It really is. What you're giving out is what they're getting.
Oh, yes.
So you got to think about that. If you like what you see in the mirror, then go for it.
Yes.
But if there are some things that you can clean up and change, and perhaps make more of a directive, you know what I mean, a directive message, in other words, with your podcast, and that is what you need to do. And when I discovered that, and when I figured out the responsibility, because it was people coming up to me, I saw your live. It was very thought provoking. Thank you for that information. And my podcast became more informational versus, oh, I'm just getting up here chilling with my family. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, that
I
and
had
that's so
to
true. Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
start centering the type of podcast I do, what caliber of guests I had. The other day, I did a live interview with a doctor out of Las Vegas, and she was so empowering and motivational. And those are the type of podcasts that I am interested in doing. Quality, bringing information that are going to assist the people, uplift our, world, and bring them to a point of inspiration.
Right.
Like, that is why people tune in now. I believe, to my lives, because they know when I go live, it's going to be about something. It's going to have a message. It is going to be a direct target for something. Either that, or I am building a campaign around something, because I have social media clients as well.
Right.
I have marketing clients that pay me to do their marketing strategies on social media. So now it has also become a business. With me becoming an author this past year, it really, really took things to another level, because now I'm finding that that is the way that I pitch and actually sell my material, my books.
Right.
And that could be me sitting there reading a chapter or two out of the book to entice the audience and get them to actually purchase. I mean, it really, social media is really, really, really important, more nowadays than ever.
Oh, I so
Um,
agree on that. Let's back up a little bit on some of the things that you were just sharing and the importance of it. And when you say responsibility, I never really used that word, but it's how you perform, right? And it's so true, because we do have a responsibility, because people are looking to us for that inspiration, that encouragement, or whatever it is, right? and
right.
and again, the quality of guests that you have, I've noticed, and people will watch you on social media. They're watching you whether you think they are or not.
Right,
Their
right, right.
eyes are on you, which is really quite interesting. So you look at the numbers, and sometimes it's like, oh man, there wasn't very many people on the show. But it's like, you know what, there's more people out there on that show watching you than you know. And that silent watch, and that's exactly what they're looking for. What's the quality of this show? What's coming out? What are they expressing? Is it something listeners want? And again, so working with women like yourself, and the majority of people that are on my show are women. It's really quite amazing, which is great, because it is
Right.
about women in business too, and to juggle that home environment, and nothing against the guys. It's just that there's more of us out there, and we relate on a different level, I think. But the show is not biased; it's open. And again, like you said, it's important to get that message out there. What is the element, And this is why I chose the theme, being that best you that you can be, because it goes in every aspect of your life, your physical life, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, and even into your financials, right?
Oh yeah.
Because that's part of that. What can you do every day? And that's what I'm looking for this show to do, is every day that you listen in, that something triggers that little bit of inspiration to say, that's what I'm going to do today to be a better me, right? And the information that you're sharing here today, Queen, is just like really important,
Right.
to have that expression. And again, it's not even, the responsibility. We're responsible for so many things in our life, and not just coming into the social media here, not just coming on shows or podcasts, with that responsibility of what you're speaking, but to be able to walk out into the world in every aspect of your life. Every time you come in contact with someone, what is that expression that you're having? Being able to
Right.
do the video, you have that body language, right? And I think this is what your friend that got you started into the video aspect of it was, she saw that life, that expression, that the way you presented yourself, and that smile is great, and
Oh,
so
thank you.
it's what makes you you. You know, and
Right.
that's what's unique, because everyone out there, you guys listening out there, it's about having that special uniqueness of who you are, and to become that expression in whatever, you know, way that you choose to do it. And social media right now is really relevant to almost everything in life, with business and with personal. Would you agree to that, Queen?
Oh, I agree 100%. As you can see, even with our news podcast and conferences and all the things that they have had to rely on during this time, they tuned into social media. Listen to this. Listen to this aspect. This is crazy, and I don't want to bring it up, but I will anyway. Um,
Okay.
social media broke the news of Kobe Bryant's death before it even hit the world.
Okay.
Think of how crucial that is. TMZ was the first media outlet to break the news, and they broke it so early that I don't even think his wife knew.
Oh my goodness.
Right. So
Whoa.
the big controversy was that, come on now, you guys are disrespectful. You know, his wife didn't even know. This shouldn't be a way that she finds out that her husband and her child is deceased.
Right.
So we go back again to the responsibility. I like TMZ because you know they are pretty effective in their podcast and what they're bringing.
Yeah,
to the
they're
table.
very
They're pretty
aggressive.
effective.
They're very
Right,
aggressive.
right. But it's like some stuff, you know. But
Right.
but their target is effective reporting, but from a gossip standpoint,
Right.
kind of. You know, that is their target. What you have to do is identify what is your target. What is your target audience?
Right.
Who are you catering to as far as the information that you're bringing across? You have to think about all those details.
Right.
I'm teaching a media course today.
Oh,
It's called
nice.
the Queen G Media Crash Course. Okay.
Crash course. Hey, you guys, you got
Crash
that?
course.
And
Because
I'm
they
sure this is.
literally got like about 40 minutes to get all this good information.
Wow.
Right?
Now, is this something that's going to be an ongoing course that you're going to, you know,
Yes.
do? Okay.
I'm gonna do it again. Today is the very first that I've tried. I actually got the idea. I joined one for an author recently, and I was like, you know what? I need to go ahead and introduce this course and go ahead and teach it via Zoom, and go ahead and put it out there. I started. I did a documentary about media as well.
Oh, okay.
And it just let me know that I have a platform with that, and that I can teach what I know to others.
So if
You know
people
what
want
I'm
to get a
saying?
hold of you, how do they reach you? They just reach you through the social media under Queen G?
Queen G Live Experience. That
Queen
is the
G
name.
Live Experience. Okay.
Yes. I have my individualized pages as well. But oh my God, I got too many pages. But it's
Oh my gosh, I do too, and I'm thinking I really need to delete these.
but see, mine is due to the fact that I also have marketing clients.
Right.
So when I have to market their product, to keep from dealing with the algorithms of social media, sometimes they have
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. You know, this is so weird. It's like sometimes I can do my shows. You know, I'll do my shows, right? And then I want to go share. There's no share button, right?
Right.
And then the next day I do my show. Oh, there's a share button. And
Right.
what happened to me the other day was, right, we got done because after the show, you know, I like to put the little thing up on top, you know, who was on and, you know, whatever. And so there's a share button. It's like, okay, cool. Well, I got a share button today, right? So I go up and I put in, you know, who was on and what they talked about, yada, yada, yada. Here's your connections, right? And I saved it, and then I went to go share, and there was no share button.
Wow.
It disappeared. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, people are like, you are all over the place. I'm like, no. What they don't realize is that right now, I know on Facebook alone, I have about 48 pages.
Oh, I don't got that many. Oh my goodness, that drives me
Right.
insane. It drives me insane with just the few that I got. No way would I have that
I'm
many.
getting there to 50, and the reason being is I have one for my red carpet moment. I have one for my live podcast, Queen Bee Live Experience. I have my business called Let's Go to Work Entertainment Network. I have also Let's Go to Work Entertainment Magazine, which is a magazine, a branding magazine that I have created.
Well, that
I
sounds
have
interesting.
yeah, I have the different ones for the different platforms. I also co-authored books with my children, so I created a page for them so that they can reach their audience through my social media. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I want to
um,
talk to you about your book because I'm an author
um,
too, and I like what you said. You know that last year, you know, you did your book, and oh my gosh, you know, when I first thought about writing a book, I mean, it'd been I had that thought all the time, right? You know, and getting really serious, you know, starting to put it in place and everything. And someone told me start introducing yourself as an up and coming author and see
yes.
what that does, right? I'm like, yeah, okay, why not? Because I'm doing these networkings, and right. And the first time I said that was somebody, you know, asked me, so, well, what do you do, right? And I said, well, I'm an up and coming author. And all of a sudden it was like you could hear a pin drop. Oh my gosh, what are you going to write about?
People are still impressed
Oh, it was,
with
it,
authors.
I was
It's a
like
different
shocked.
world.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
literary world is a different world. So what I literally have been doing is utilizing my platforms on social media to also introduce the author side of me.
Yeah,
Uh,
what I'm working with right now, and I'm in collaborating with is I've got a book and she's got a book, and we they kind of like enhance each other. So we're putting
right.
together a course, you know, and that's what I've been, you know, I had my course getting ready to go on my book, and then she was actually a guest, and we just became really close friends, and she shared her book, and it just came out of that, and it's like, wow, let's just do this together because it just like fits in so neat, you know,
Right.
and tidy. So what's the name of your book, Queen?
I am an author of 8 total books and two
Okay.
co-written projects. Um, oh my God, let's say 3 co-written projects. So it's a total of 11 that's out on the market with my branding in there. It started all last year when a friend of mine named Candy Struthers DeVore, she she wanted to place me in her book called The Faces of Rap Mothers. It's a series of women that are in the entertainment industry that are kind of like the mothers of hip hop. They have women of hip hop, but they don't have mothers, you know. So
Okay.
she placed me in that particular story, and I was chapter one. And basically, you tell your own stories of the experiences that you've had in the entertainment industry. When I did that for her, it was a light bulb that went on. I was like, you know what? It's time for me to go ahead and write my book.
Okay.
It's time for me to go ahead and put this out on the world. Like no time but the right time. So immediately, as soon as her book dropped, The Faces of Rap Mothers, I went into work and began to pull all my notes together that I have been working on for the last couple of years, and I basically put them in chapters. And it was like a match made in heaven. This was only in November. My first book was released on Amazon in November, and I have now become an author of 8 total books. 4 are children's books, and the other 4 are autobiographies, and I have co-written 3.
That's amazing. You know, it just there is something about the author world in that writing, you know, and um, you know, I've got I've got several out there. I've got another one
Yeah,
that's I
see,
just got to push the button on, you know. It's
right,
like, okay,
right,
just push the button, all right, just go for it, you know. But it is it's just it's a way to express, you know, and there's someone out there, you know, even with all the video, the internet, everything that's out there, people still read books,
they still
right?
read. That's what I found out.
Yeah,
They still read.
yeah.
And what's oh my God, I thought I was doing something. Now you asked me the name. The name is, if you can see the backdrop behind me, it's probably backwards.
No, it's not.
Okay. It's called Queen G Media Course The Journey. That is the very first book that I came out with. That actually talks about my journey in media over the past 20 something years. I have interviewed people like Taraji Henson, um, Teddy Riley. There's a lot of legendary people in the entertainment industry, and I've interviewed them. They're all celebrities too. Ti, um, I oh, so many. And there, the one in the book though, the one in the book is a guy by the name of Bushwick Bill, who was in a hit group called Ghetto Boys, rap group, legendary group again. He passed away last year, and I got his exclusive 2 years ago. And my God, when I tell you, I took his actual interview and transformed it into words, and it was transcribed and placed in his book. So I have that. I have pictures of me in the entertainment industry, 20 something years of photos, old magazine articles, things that, now are relevant.
Right.
Before it may not have been so relevant, but now that they're calling a media icon or an influencer, that's the
Right.
name for it. Those things have become more relevant. So I pulled out my old Taraji Henson interview, and it was from a magazine from when I was in my early 20s, and I placed that in that book, and I talked about the experiences of media, how our run in Las Vegas was powerful and amazing.
Right.
I have a chapter called Let's Go to Work Entertainment Network that talks about me and my husband working out there in the industry hand in hand. He's a cameraman. He's a videographer and a photographer. So what happened too in my life is not only was I beginning to develop my style for interviewing and all that, I've been interviewing for 20 something years, but also I had a paparazzi in my own personal life. So we woke up and filmed. He does his own editing. We would put all these social media promos together that launched our own campaign. We didn't have to pay anybody to do what we needed to do and push those buttons that needed to
Right.
be pushed, because it was in-house. And my God, when I tell you that made a huge difference in my life. He only learned videography about 6 years ago, but he is good at it. Like, how some people they learn something and it takes them a while or whatever.
Right.
He has a natural talent, along with looking at a few YouTube videos here and there. But he picked that camera up, honey, and it was like a match made in heaven.
Well, when you can go ahead. Oh, I think you froze up there a little bit, sweetheart. But when you find a passion, like her husband did in that camera, when you know yourself and you find that passion, that's your purpose. And so this is something we can all learn to find out, well, I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know if I have a passion. And when you can find that, like your husband, we were just talking, Queen, when you find that passion of that natural ability, it just flows. It's like an artist, right? When they pick up that brush and they start drawing, right? It's so unique in its own right. It's what's in their blood. It's what's in their genes. It's just there. If you go to class and you learn how to draw and all that kind of stuff, your artwork is still, there's beauty in it, but it's different. It's not the same as someone that has a natural brush stroke, and you can tell the difference.
My husband picked up that camera, and not only did he film me, but what happened was celebrity jobs came in. He ended up filming T.I., Stacey Dash, Celine Dion. He got a picture of Floyd Mayweather. What happened was, after he touched my life and gift, he started getting jobs in that were, oh my God, huge jobs. Not
well, that's really good.
Job.
That's really good to be able to take your passion and turn it into, a profitability, right? And same way,
right.
When you have your books and when you start your shows and all these things, it's because you come from the heart, and you are that expression, and it shows in your work, so
right.
be able to capture, being behind that camera, getting the right twist and the right turn and the right view, and everything. That's what makes someone shine, right?
Right. It literally went from him filming me all the time to me booking appointments with him. That's how serious that was. I had to get on his calendar. And I was like, honey, don't think you're all that because now you know. But he planted seed into my life. So I wasn't
Right.
surprised that so much evolved quickly for him as well. He started shooting music videos. It was just crazy. I was
Yeah.
so grateful. So in that book also, I talk about him and I working together as a team in the social media business and what happened in Las Vegas in particular. And there are things in there about my personal life. I was on the Oprah Winfrey show before, and I have also a celebrity brother who is also in the entertainment industry. And we were on the Oprah show together. So that adds a whole nother element to
Oh,
my
yes,
life.
it does.
To
Yes, it
the
does.
fact of who I'm related to. It's not just where I could do my own thing and do social media. I'm constantly a spectacle because I'm also related to a world famous person as well. So that's a whole nother side of this that makes me have a huge responsibility on how I report, what I say,
Right.
because people are tuning in and we're connected by Google as well. So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like,
and that's so true. It's not just a what you know world. It really is a who you know world, right? And it makes a huge difference. And sometimes, like yourself, you're in that position, and you want to be you, and you want to be looked at as just you, not being the relative of, or because you don't want to fly on their coat string. It's like, wait a minute, that's nice and it's all fine and dandy, but I still want to be me, right? And
right,
so
exactly.
so I want my fame to glory coming from me, and not, oh, you just made it to the top because you were related to, or you know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, let me tell you what's fact, and it is also Googleable. Um, I am his sister, and when people call me Tyrese's sister, like it's nothing you could do about it because it's
Right.
fact.
You can't
So
you can't change that. That's the
no,
genetic, right?
that is how we were born. That's the makeup of our family. That is what it is. We have the
Right.
same mom and dad. So that is my pure blood brother. There's no way to disconnect the cord because that is what it was.
Right.
But,
Right.
but what I did learn out of this though was to gain my own individual um,
Identity.
identity.
Right. Right.
Identity. I believe that every person has to fit into their own shoes.
Right.
But for many, many years, I didn't know what my identity was because of his identity, if you know what I mean. And
Oh yeah, I do. I do.
I had to learn to go ahead and to walk into my own shoes and I make sure that I do what I have to do because all of our lives are very, very important.
And that's so true. And we talk about identity, and that's something that's really dear to my heart, is identity, because it's what got excuse me, it's what got me started in my own journey, was because I had no identity other by than association. And again, when you talk about that association, with your brother being in the face of the news and everything, it's like, well, here you come up, right? It's like,
Right,
oh, well, okay. And again, it's almost more of a responsibility, because now you have to kind of perform maybe a little bit differently, or you think you have to perform differently, because the eyes are on you because of where your brother has taken it, on his journey. And so now the shoes that you're fitting in just got bigger, you know?
right, and that is what it is. And see, even more, I have to be aware of everything that I'm doing due to the
Right,
tie and the connection as well. He is world famous, so when something hits or say something impacts his family, it's going to hit his lap.
right.
It
And
doesn't matter. It
right.
doesn't matter what the circumstance, like everything hits his lap because of how famous he is.
Right.
He is worldwide famous, international famous. He goes, his star power is really real. And I'm talking movie star, I'm
Right.
talking recording artist, writer, he's an author. Like his star power is crazy. And I just happen to be the sibling of.
Right.
So when you think about that, it is, when I tell you it's a huge responsibility, I'm very, very conscious of what I say. I'm more aware than the average due to that fact because, again, everything.
Right, because it's all going to go back
Hi,
there. Yeah, it's all going to go back to the
hi.
family because you know, like you said, the paparazzi, everybody is watching. All eyes are on you
Yeah,
to see what you're going to do because they want to bring it back, and it's sad that the media is looking for something that they can just throw in the face of to make it tainted, so to speak, which is why does our society live on that? And that's kind of one of the things that I want to change out there is like, let's focus on the good. Let's focus on the individual. Let's let everyone shine. Let's bring everyone up to the top. Let's be behind everyone and boost them and give them and encourage and have that drive and that confidence and not be afraid to just be you. Just truly be all that you can be without having the fear of being judged and your movement and
right,
your experience. Everyone has certain experiences that they want to have, and some want to just say, okay, that result is going to be that way. I don't think I really need that experience. Thank you very much for showing me that I don't need to go there, right?
right.
And
So
but
again, my responsibility is to make sure that I am offering quality in my podcast and my words. Um, like, oh my God, subject matters that impact everyday lives.
well, and
That is
that's
what I'm interested in.
and
Yeah.
and that's what's really great, and that's why I asked you to come on this show is because everyone has a story. Don't die with your story in you. Get it out. It's okay
Yes.
because regardless of how that story is, it impacts someone else's lives, and if it can help someone else see that there is light at the end of the tunnel, if it was only one person, then it was worth it, right? And
Right.
again, to be able to interview people like yourself, to share to the world that there's so much more out there and the goodness in it, and to find the goodness and to be an expression of that goodness again is to build that confidence in who you are, that self-esteem, and to give you that little bit of light and insight that there is life on the other side of whatever that other side may be, right?
Oh yeah, I have a husband. I have 7 children. I have three
Oh my
grandchildren.
gosh.
Yeah, it's it's definitely life going on in spite of
Right.
what I do for a living. That's why I incorporated my kids and co-authored with them because I felt as
Right.
if that was a way for us to do what I do for a living and have us do it together. When
And that's
I
great.
become a vendor, yeah, if I become a vendor, they can go with me and they can sell their
Yeah.
own product.
And get them started that little entrepreneur, age, because you know what, their dreams are still so alive, and they don't have that built-in fear or failures. It's like, hey, they just do it, right? And it's like, that one don't work, we just go do this, and we can learn a lot from that. Don't be afraid to just do, because it's the action. So
Right.
if you're listening out there, what is it that you wanted to do as a child that you haven't allowed yourself to do? Do it now. You're never too old to start to do anything. Get that vision, get that dream, collaborate, and work with other people, reach out, because there is a way. And it's beautiful, Queen, that you're giving your children this kind of a start, because it's not something they learn in the classroom. And these are some of the things that I like to teach, to my, I've got 3 grown kids and I've got grandchildren that are now, I have great grandchildren, right? But to be able to teach them that there's
Right.
more than what they learn in school. You know, teach them what nature is all about. Teach them the other side that doesn't get shown. And you understand what it is to be a grandparent, right? And,
yeah,
and
definitely.
It's so different from when you held that little baby of your own, isn't it? Just like two different worlds.
Well, the difference is you can love upon them and send them back.
That's right. You get this. They're really great to get even with, you know. So now you can teach them all the little tricks and send them home.
Exactly. It's definitely different. It's such a different variation for me because my younger set of kids, I have older grandkids than my last set of kids.
Yeah, so you know, I come from a family of 11, and it's interesting how you say that because it is, you have the first half, and then you have the second half, you know, and it's like night and day. It's like night and day, you know. When Mom and Dad were first starting out, I mean, grew up on a farm, you know, in the Midwest, you know, and you know, all of that kind of life, whatever. Well, when the second half was starting to come up into, you know, their element, Mom and Dad had moved to Montana. Dad retired from farming. He could rent the farm and make more money than he could farming, so he said to hell with it, and he moved to Montana, right? So that was a different lifestyle. So the first half and the second half, I get it. They're so like night and day. And
they're different.
Yeah,
and this is the way that I've learned to deal with that, is that seriously, every child is different.
They're so unique. Yes. Yes.
Every child has their own individual personality. Each child has a different mood. And that's how my kids taught me how to have multiple clients. Because I would not be able to operate in the world of business had I not had multiple children, because that really taught me that every mood is different with each client.
Right.
Each client has their own individualized vision. You know what I'm saying? I learned those tactics from having multiple kids, literally.
Yeah.
And now it's spilled over into my business life.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's a beautiful way to put it, because it is so true. Because, you know, your students are your greatest teachers, right? And those students can come in any form. You know, and they just happen to come in the form of children. You know, I mean, I look at my family, you know, as well. And then I look at all my nieces and nephews. Well, I mean, we have a really huge extended family, right? And cousins and everything. It's just, and when I look at that, and again, like you say, you learn from those avenues. My youngest sister is 1 year older than my oldest son. And my kids were like stair steps. I mean, bing, 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 right? Well, and she's just the bong on the top because they're all 1 year apart. They're just 1 year and a couple months apart. So she's more of a daughter to me than she was ever a sister. Because when my kids were little, I didn't live that far from Mom and Dad, right? And because there was 6 years between her and the twins, my other sisters, you know, that were twins, that's a lot of distance. And now here's my kids in the same age bracket as hers. So she was always at my house. So I pretty much raised her, right? And so she has become just that daughter. And she does come to me with mother things. She always has, you know. And it's just kind of a special extra connection bond that I have with her as a sister daughter versus just being a sister to, you know.
I know exactly what you're saying, because my youngest I have a set of twins. That's another thing. That's a whole nother thing right there. I have a set of twins, and they are 7 years of age, and my oldest granddaughter is almost 11. So sometimes we all get confused.
Right? Yeah.
We all get confused. It is what it is.
It is what it is. You know, I get.
We're all like, okay, what position do you play? Are you auntie, cousin? Like, you know what I mean? It's one of them things. Like, who are you?
Well, yeah, that is so true, because, you know, so my little sister, she has a different relationship, you know, with my kids. I mean, she's their aunt, but I don't know if they ever call her Aunt Karen, because she was a sister to them. And actually, because she was with me so much, and because of the age steps, even my relatives, you know, thought that I had 4 kids. So, didn't you have 4 kids? I said, well, I birthed 3, but yeah, I raised 4. You know? It was so funny when your own relatives thinking, you know, they're thinking that your sister is your daughter because she's with you so much with the other kids. You know, it was kind of crazy. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
And I adopted my little brother too, so he's like brother uncle. You know what I'm saying? That's what we
Yeah.
always. But my
Oh my
daughters,
goodness.
even though that is their younger uncle, they consider him as a brother. So it's just
Yeah.
really
You know, and
interesting.
it's just a word. You know, it's
Yeah,
family, and we've got so much extended family. You know,
right.
and my family has, and that's one thing I really pride myself on, to be in as a big a family as we are. You know, and then you have extended families coming in. You know, because of divorces and remarriages and all kinds of stuff. Is, you know what? There's never been that you know, that you're you know, outside of the family. You know, you got to prove yourself. You know, if any of our relatives, you know, family members bring someone in from the outside and they have children with them or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you
Right.
brought them in, that's all it takes. Then you're
Right.
part of the tribe. So you better get used to it, right? And
Oh
and
yeah.
sometimes it can be really overwhelming. Like you know, I've had a couple of sister-in-laws that come in, and they were like single children, right? They didn't have brothers and
Right.
sisters, and all of a sudden here they are inundated with 11, you know, and then extended family, and they're like, okay, and we're all very very rambunctious and very outgoing and just wow, we live life and we're alive, you know.
Right.
And
Right. Right. Oh
sometimes
yeah.
that can be pretty shocking, right?
That's another thing for me. I am very, very family oriented.
Right.
Um, I believe in family. I believe in quality time, spending time together, all that stuff. Before this pandemic, my family is pretty close knit. Like the my husband, my children, we already
Well, you know, you're
a
not only
family.
living together, you're working together, you're growing
Right.
together, you know. And I think that's the basis of where we need to get back to on the planet. And this little pandemic and really putting people back in that little home environment, you know, spending that time with their kids that they probably haven't and getting to know them differently. So hopefully, you know, one of the great things that come out of this is that the family unit will be stronger.
And I've seen it
Right.
already. It's been amazing to look up and see families playing Monopoly, watching
Right.
TV together, spending time together, doing family videos. It's just been amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, again, this pandemic it's very different for our
Oh,
society and world. It is a
different.
very different
It's
time due to the fact that you just can't go up to a human being anymore and just assume that they're okay. What I mean by that is not sick.
right. Yeah, but you know, and
So that's a very
there's both sides of the fence of that too, and you can't live in that fear. You know,
no, no,
again,
no, no.
it's really taking care of yourself. Start to recognize, how do I really take care of this vessel that I'm in, right?
Right,
You know, and be able to not be afraid that somebody else is going to say, you know, that's never going to go away. People are
right,
born every day and people die every day, right?
right,
And it's
right.
not to say that this isn't a real thing, but you know what, it there's illness all the time. When your
Oh yeah,
numbers up, your numbers up. I mean, come on, there's
that's
people
true.
walking the planet that are healthier than healthy, and they just drop over. Well, you know what, your numbers up. It gives us an opportunity to look at life and say, hey, I am going to live every moment as if it were my last. When you
Right.
can
Yeah, what are
take,
you gonna do
that's
to
right.
leave a legend
Yeah.
on this world?
Yeah.
And that's my daily now. My daily, and this was before the pandemic.
Oh,
I
and
was
it needs to
already
be. You're either living or
in
you're
that
dying,
mode.
right?
Okay, every single day I am going to make the most out of my days and,
Yep.
and invest attention and time and put these positive things on the world with the time that I have.
Right.
Okay. Now, what it did do though, is make me tune more into my health overall.
Right.
That is the bonus for this time, that it definitely made me get my health in order. Me and my husband have been walking. We have been taking more vitamins and investing, eating better, eating more at home, with
Right.
not being on the go as much. You're not going through those fast food restaurants as much, and it's just really been a great thing with that. I learned and discovered, and I've been cooking, but it doesn't really take that much more time to prepare something at home.
No, it doesn't, and you know
I
what's
do a
in it.
drive through.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and when you can start making things from scratch like that, not out of a can, not out of a box, but actually getting that food that's alive, right? And turning it into something that's more healthy. So, it's not just the physical health, it's your mental health. That mindset
Yeah.
is huge, right? And your emotional health, because if you hold on to those old emotions, they're going to start festering inside the physical body, and that's where my specialty lies, is working in that emotional baggage releasing, right?
Right.
and,
Right.
and it all works together, and then also getting into the spiritualism of it, to know what your soul essence is. Where is that higher power at that you can connect with, in the power and the spirit of who you are, and everything that we spoke about here today, Queen, in being that better you. Where's that next step to actually be that expression, to share that? And
Right.
we're both on the same path to the same outcome. We're taking people on an interesting journey in different avenues, to see and to taste and to smell and to hear and to feel different things. But really, what it boils down to is, for you guys out there listening, that there is a way to bring your truth and your dreams into reality and create what you said, a legacy, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
For
gosh,
sure.
Queen, we could talk and talk and talk, and I think we're already at our hour here, maybe a little more,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And
And
so
I'm okay. Look, I do these all the time. It's like
I know you could
on the
just keep
couch.
just keep on going and going. We're definitely going to have to get you back on, talk maybe more about
Thank
your books
you.
and stuff, and maybe we can have one of your kids on too, and just see where
That
that
would
takes
be
us.
great. Actually,
So
they just did their first podcast ever, and it was so much fun. You should have seen us in here preparing for their podcast, because I have four little off. My daughter calls it offer.
oh,
She
okay.
calls herself an offer, OFFER, right? But
That's
you
all
should have
right.
seen
That's all
them
right.
here setting up to prepare for their podcast, because they had music for the audience. They had all these things planned. And I have four little authors that I co-author with. And oh my God, we tore this room up trying to make sure that every camera was at the right angle, that we all could be in frame. It was crazy. Five people in frame at once. And everybody was going to do their own book presentation. And I just found out that my kids are going to be featured, and my son is going to be on the cover of a magazine called Junior Billionaire.
Whoa!
So
Oh, I got
their
chills on
books
that
are
one.
yeah,
What?
my books are their books are taking them on their own little path and journey now.
That's
And they're
awesome.
beginning to, yeah, and my daughter, her book is selling the most. It's called Dolly Mix Up. It's about her trading lives with her baby doll. So
Wow.
she just shot a commercial for it. She it's something about that book that's just drawn the audience. And all the mamas and grandmamas want to get it for their grandbaby girls. And she just had her youngest author ever get her book, who was a newborn baby. Her dad got a book for his newborn daughter, and he said he's
Ah,
gonna read it to her. So it was the cutest thing. When he got the book in the mail, we did a picture side by they did a picture with her holding the book. And every time my daughters sell, it's a ching ching moment for them. So they have like a ton of extra toys in the house now because they have been selling their books.
that's
Right?
yeah. that's so awesome. That's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So hey, anyone out there, if you've got kids, let them be that expression. Let them get their books out there. Get them on podcasts. Get them out there in the world. Let them know that they can start now. Don't suppress that dream, that inspiration, that energy. Let them. Put them on a directional path and let them go. And let them go. Oh my goodness. Oh, Queen, I want to thank you so much for being here. I so enjoyed this hour spending time with you and hearing your stories and about your life.
Thank you.
And it's
Thank
been
you for
a
having
treat.
me.
Oh, it's been a treat. So now it's time to say go out there and be that best you that you can be, because Queen and I are going to be the best we that we can be. And we shall see all of you on the next show.
Have a good one, guys. What?